You are eating a credit card's worth of microplastics every week, and it's ending up in your brain, in your blood, and for men, even your balls. And so I'm going to go through how microplastics are wrecking your body and how they get into the body and how to effectively avoid them. And so what you're seeing here, this is a report that goes through all the evidence behind microplastics and how they're getting in the body and how they're affecting you. So the top three ways they go into the system are going to be ingestion, right? You're consuming them. Breathing in, so you're breathing in small microplastics. When you breathe them in too, if you do have something that goes through the nose, this goes directly to the brain because there's no barrier. The blood-brain barrier only blocks things coming from the neck, not through the nose, right? So if something's going in your blood that you've, say, ingested, okay, it might make it to the brain, but it has to pass that barrier. When it goes through the nose, it just goes right to the brain. Another way is through the skin. You can see right here, dermal absorption. And so the skin is like a sponge. It can absorb things that you come in contact with. So when you're touching a receipt that you get at the store, or when you have your hand on, say, a thin plastic bag, the question is how much of that microplastic is getting into your body. And some of it can be removed by the body, and some of it cannot be removed with any current technology. So it's definitely good to be aware of avoiding and minimizing as much as you can. So how do you avoid microplastics, and how do you maximize the body's ability to get rid of them? So I'm going to go through first ways to avoid them, in just purely in terms of the things on your day-to-day and on your food especially. So right here, here's some cleaning methods that I put together for cleaning your food. And I use two natural approaches, right? One with baking soda and one with vinegar. And I break this into two parts. So vinegar, and then we have baking soda here. And at the top here is kind of a summary of all of them. So just to go through a few of these, what you would want to clean with vinegar is going to be your berries, tomatoes, peaches, nectarines, papaya, persimmon, everything in this list, including your meat and your nuts and seeds. And then on this side with baking soda, right, your asparagus, your vegetables, your broccoli, cauliflower, if you do consume things like lentils. Now, no one's going to be perfect. I mean, I would take this as a guide because you're probably going to get some microplastics in your body either way. But think about it, a whole credit card's worth every week. I mean, that's just crazy. So for me, I try to minimize. But as you start to go through the process of minimizing your microplastic exposure, you start to realize you're around microplastics all the time. When you go to the store and you buy that organic guacamole, and you're like, wait, like they're selling me this in plastic. Now that I think of, like, there's different types of plastic, and as a rule of thumb, the thinner the plastic, the more likely it is going to be to leach into your food and into your body in turn, right? So if you have something that's you bought on Amazon, it's BPA free, it's thick, the probability and the quantity of that plastic getting into your body is going to be less than if you have like a thin plastic bag that you then put something in to store in for a week or a couple days, right? And then you pull it out, and well, now some of the plastic is probably on the surface as well as has seeped inside the actual food. So take salmon, for example, right? It's seafood. Well, when I buy salmon at Trader Joe's, it's covered in plastic, right? And so you could get some of the surface level plastic off, but some of it has already seeped in. So it's going to be very difficult to avoid all microplastics getting into your body, but the goal is to minimize, right? So other things, you have this list of vinegar, for example. When do you do it? Do you do it before you eat it, or do you clean it before you store it? And for me, the mass majority of time, I've been doing it before I eat it. But there's a couple on here that you can see like before storing, like nuts and seeds, and I think cheese was on here. Let's see. Let's scroll down to the baking soda one. And okay, wait, no, that's in vinegar before storing, right? So I always clean my cheese with vinegar, and I've been doing it before I eat it, but this is saying to do it before storing it. So, and then here are some of the vinegar ones. A lot of them again are before use, but a few are before storing. But you want to make sure it's dry before you store it. So if you do clean something and then store it, make sure it dries, because otherwise mold could be created and kind of. There's other reasons to clean your food, and I have them in this column, like why vinegar, for example. Mold, potential bacteria, pesticides, right? So, for example, baking soda is highly effective at removing pesticides. So you can see, for example, your broccoli, cauliflower, and so on, that's going to remove some of the pesticides. Now, if you buy organic, there'll be less pesticides. There could still be some, and sometimes if you're at the farmer's market, it might not officially be organic, but I'd rather clean it off to remove whatever else could be on that, whether it's dust, pesticides, chemicals, or microplastics. And so I will send this over. If you send me a message, feel free to reach out. You can follow me on Instagram at Jason C. Mercurio, and I'll send you this over if you'd like it. I find it as a really good guide to help remind myself to keep these things clean, because let's face it, our food supply is not clean. It's incredibly dirty. There's 10,000 ingredients that are in there that aren't even technically food. I mean, this is not like you go out in your garden, right? These are things that Big Food has put into the food. A lot of it's for storing the item long term, and a lot of them really were never meant to be put in the body. So I hope you got some value out of this, and I'd appreciate if you subscribe to my channel and also hit the like button. It's great for the YouTube algorithm. Really appreciate that, and thank you very much for listening. Live long and age less.